Hey guys, welcome to Blaugrana United. Welcome to another video, and today is time to discuss the topic of Felipe Coutinho and why is he succeeding at Bayern Munich? Why is it that as soon as leaving Barcelona, why do so many players just all of a sudden become the players that they were meant to be at Barcelona? And this is very interesting because this has to do with the performance where Bayern Munich won, and with a Felipe Coutinho brilliant performance, with a performance that oddly enough, hey, look at that, there is Felipe Coutinho. I was missing him for a year, and there he is. He has been very good in his start to live in Bavaria. I think that is very good that Felipe Coutinho is performing at the highest level possible, that he's adapting to Bayern very well, and although it could be dangerous for us because Bayern, I mean, after all, they did trash Tottenham Hotspur 7-2 today, and we're giving them a player that at his best level is one of the best players in the world. As hard as that, as what the performance of last year that might sound, and as crazy as that might sound, Felipe Coutinho is one of the best players in the world at his best level. That we were not able to get the best level out of him, it is not his fault clearly, but it is our fault. And why is it that we were not able to get the best out of Felipe Coutinho? What were the problems? Well, I commented it through my videos already, and through last season. I said, Felipe Coutinho, he's not succeeding because 1, he's not playing in a role that suits his own. He's not playing a system that suits what he is as a player, because he's not the protagonist of the club. He's in Bayern, he's going to be the protagonist of the number 10 position. He's going to be able to have the freedom to move anywhere where he wants. At Barcelona, that was always going to be the role of Lionel Messi, and that will forever be the role of Lionel Messi as long as he's in the team. Why did Felipe Coutinho not succeed at Barcelona? Because he was playing a position that was not his position. Playing in the wing at Barcelona does not mean that you get all the chances to be as creative as you can be, to be able to move around in the pitch as much as you want, because that is the only role that Messi can execute in the world, basically. Like, Messi is so good going forward that he's the only one that doesn't have to press, that doesn't have to, do other things that other players have to do, because he's an exceptional talent that no one else possesses. But in a winger position at Barcelona, you need players with pace, you need players with good dribbling ability, with being good on the one-on-ones. And Felipe Coutinho in particular, he's not great at the one-on-ones. And when I mean he's not great at the one-on-ones, he's not great at battling with fullbacks. Felipe Coutinho is not he's a player that's much better getting away from players, driving towards the middle. But when you ask him to help to be to be the fullback and drive to the wing and put in a cross or create from the wing, that is not Felipe Coutinho. Felipe Coutinho is always going to be a false winger, if anything. And because we're not able to use him in midfield, first of all, playing him in midfield at Barcelona means he has to learn a new role, which is the interior role, it's what we've been seeing from Arthur Melo this season. Arthur is the embodiment of what an interior Barcelona needs to be this season. And Coutinho is clearly not that player. Could he become that player? Yes, he could. I believe that he has the potential to do so. Iniesta, in his beginnings, was very similar. He wasn't even adapted to play in centre midfield, and Guardiola brought him slowly but surely, to be to standard to play in a Barcelona midfield. And we've seen him multiple times with Guardiola. He turns players into things that they were not even close to being. That was not even as a question. And he turns them into completely something different. Like Zinchenko gets to play at full possession. Delph gets to play at full possession. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, all number 10s get to become very good midfielders. He even teaches Raheem Sterling not to only become a winger, but to become a goal-scoring winger, to be a be a very smart player on the pitch, someone that had horrible decision making, which is what we associate someone maybe like Dembele. I bet if Guardiola had a player like Dembele in his team, I'm telling you right now, he would be probably battling with De Bruyne to be the best player of Manchester City. Is it Valverde's fault that we were not able to get the best out of Coutinho? Yes and no. Why not? Because although Valverde did play him in a position that was not his, he was forced to. Because obviously he was not going to lose the balance in midfield that we didn't have much balance, but if we didn't have any sort of chance to be able to have a competent midfield, Coutinho at this moment in time was not ready for it, and playing him in the forward line was at least going to keep us from being weak in midfield. Where does the problem come? That you have someone like Dembele that needs to play a lot of minutes, that it is a winger, that it is his possession, and you're making him battle with someone that needs to be a midfielder, needs to be taught how to play in midfield for a role for Barcelona. Coutinho's best role, as we see with Bayern Munich and as we saw with Liverpool before Jurgen Klopp, was a number 10 position. Once Jurgen Klopp got in, he needed an interior and he needed someone more physical that was going to do a lot more miles on the pitch, and that is just not Philippe Coutinho. Although he was being good with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, it was like Jurgen Klopp didn't miss Coutinho. We've seen this Liverpool side evolve without Philippe Coutinho. He was not needed. If anything, it was a grace because they were able to bring players like Alisson and Van Dijk into a team that needed much more those kind of players than the likes of Coutinho, although he's one of the best players in the world. Will he succeed at Bayern Munich? I think so. I think that with people like Lewandowski, Gnabry, Koeman, all those players giving them like very good outlets for him to be a very creative player, it's gonna be very good for him. The Bundesliga is a league where Bayern dominated heavily with the midfielders like Kimmich, Tolisso, Thiago Alcantara. They have so much going for them that I think a good season for Coutinho, we could see Bayern Munich pay the release cost, which would help us heavily with those 120 million euros that Bayern will pay for us, which will basically recover all the fee that we paid for Coutinho initially. And at this point, I'm willing to take it, because it's always going to be a shame to think of why couldn't Coutinho succeed at Barcelona. My honest opinion is that he happened to join the club at a moment where we just did not have the manager to do so. There's very few managers in the world that are able to do what Guardiola does with his players, and Valverde just isn't one of them. And he doesn't have, not only he doesn't have the confidence in himself, the bravery to do so, but he might not have the ability to do so. And that is something that, hey, you've chosen this manager for the team. It's your fault that he's not capable to do the job, because you at the end of the day chose him to be the leader of the project. And then if you're not even allowing him to be the leader of the project, because the thing is, you brought Coutinho as a new Iniesta, you branded him as a new Iniesta, but he's competing in the forward line to replace Neymar. That is what it looks to me, and it's definitely not being the right position. Also, you have to think, is Coutinho the only case of a player that is struggling to succeed at Barcelona, where in his previous club he happened to succeed with a great amount of success, with a great amount of very good minutes, a very good play time? Well, it's not the only case, because we've seen throughout the years of Barcelona, and this is probably, Barcelona is not only characterized for, in my opinion, for being the team with the biggest names ever to play for the club, but also for the team to have the most players fail at your club. And what I mean about that is players that I think that, and I still keep my opinion that there are some players at Barcelona that ended up looking really bad players, but at the end of the day, they are players that, in my opinion, to this day could still perform at a really high level and could have been perfectly usable players at Barcelona that we just did not know how to get the best out of, for one or two or three reasons that could all be very different. Like, for example, the likes of Antoine Griezmann right now at Barcelona, it's having the same, it all feels like Coutinho all again. A player that was great at his previous club, He just doesn't seem comfortable with the pitch. There's not like a real position for him right there. We're trying him in a role that's not his own. He's doing things that does not look like the Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. Dembele getting injured a lot of the time. He's not the Dembele that we knew from Borussia Dortmund or from Rennes. Like André Gomes, Denis Suarez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So many players that I think they were all capable to play at Barcelona at a really high level. For one or other reason, they left the club without fulfilling the maximum potential. Like so Ibrahimovic, maybe because of the attitude. They didn't have the right mentality to be a Barcelona. Players like André Gomes and Denis Suarez, because you overbooked the midfield and gave them little to no opportunities to play in that position, because you already have starters like Iniesta, Rakitic and Busquets, and the likes of André Gomes and Denis Suarez had to play like the garbage minutes, and obviously couldn't improve it at their time in Barcelona, couldn't get the confidence that they needed to. Then you have the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, who again, you're overbooking that position because you're not able to bench Suarez, because you're obviously are not going to bench Lionel Messi. You're playing one in a position that's not his own. You're not telling the other one is getting injured, and you're not doing anything to tell him why he's getting injured. Maybe because, let's be honest with each other, does Dembele want to get injured right now? Not really, because it looks really bad on him right now every time that he's getting injured. I'm sure that he, for a time, wants to do everything in his power to be as fit as he is. But the thing is that if you have a policy of the physical preparation is not important, or it's not as important, and you basically tell every player to train on their own and to keep their physical up to date with what they think is right, then they're gonna have it. Because if there are players, especially the youngsters, that need that coaching, that need that guidance, if you don't give them guidance that they need, then problems are going to start to happen. And it seems to be the case with Barcelona every time. A player comes to Barcelona and they either succeed or they fail epically. Like, there's no in between. Like, a player could just, for example, Denis Suarez and André Gomes, if they were not going to be like undisputed starters, at least one of them should have been a player that was going to be a very rotational player for Barcelona, that could have come and impact some games to the bench. But it wasn't be the case. Both players leave Barcelona and look at all the talent that we paid for them before. André Gomes at Everton has been pretty decent, I have to say. And this beginning of the season for Celta Vigo, Denis Suarez looks actually amazing. Some people are going to say Paco Alcácer. Paco Alcácer is a different story. I think that Alcácer is a player that is, for me, is not Barcelona quality, not even to be, well, he's good enough to be on the bench, but I believe that we have youngsters that are much more usable, and it's much better for us to give them the minutes that we were going to give a player like Alcácer, because Alcácer, for me, is never going to be a standard to be Barcelona starting. And yes, he succeeded at Borussia Dortmund because they create a lot of chances and he's a good finisher. But the Barcelona striker has much more requirements than just being a good finisher. They need to be a good movement outside the box, good dribbling, good link-up play. And those are things that Alcácer is very limited at, in my opinion. But again, these are all examples of how a player comes to Barcelona, one thing goes wrong with the player, because it seems like it's always a thing. It's not always the same thing, but it's always something that goes wrong with the player. Coutinho comes to Barcelona being one of the best players in the world, probably being one of the best players in the Premier League at the time, and he comes to Barcelona, has a good 6 months where he scores some goals. He seems like he's adapting to that left midfield spot that Valverde was playing in the 4-4-2. Next season we switch to 4-3-3. He plays in centre midfield for a few games. You have the game against Leganes. We lose very badly. We have very bad performance from Philippe Coutinho, and he's never to play in that position ever again. And that's when actually the problems, in my opinion, started happening right there. Our season probably got derailed because of one bad performance. So you crucify the player for one bad performance. The Liverpool game, the loss in the Copa del Rey final, some of the games where you just didn't know what was going on. Why were we playing so crap? Why were we playing parking the bus against teams that have... Why were we parking the bus against Betis, against Celta, against Villarreal? And this is what happens when you have games like this, when you have a mentality that is like that, and when you're doing things wrong with players that you're buying them for no reason, or you're buying them not knowing what they are or what the role in the team is gonna be, then definitely problems are happening. But without saying that, leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.